Hello, welcome everybody to The Loop presented by Midwich. I'm your host, Joe Dunbar, and with me as always is not Louis Robinson. Where did Louis go, you guys? Look, unfortunately, Louis got an offer he couldn't refuse, and long story short, of course, we want Louis to do what's best for Louis and what's best for him and his family and his situation. So Louis made a change, went to another company. He's still working in the AV and tech space very much, so hit him up on LinkedIn. If you miss him, let him know you guys are missing him, and feel free to check in with him. We wish him all the best. Him and I are still in touch regularly, so other than go Pack Go, no Lions, we got nothing but love for Louis. In lieu of Louis and another permanent host, that's fun to say, I'm going to be bringing in guests on each one of the episodes of the pod. This pod was originally started, and I want to keep it as a way to update our customer base. Here's information that we think our customers would find helpful, short form, and we're going to stick with that. And I'm going to bring in a guest host each time, somebody I can discuss various things with. It could be a colleague of mine here in the industry. It could be a coworker of mine at Midwich. It could be a colleague from a manufacturer, things like that. It really could be anybody. Today, I'm going to be joined by one of my coworkers, Steve Kawasaki. Steve is a director of business management here. We're going to talk to Steve specifically about our audio lineup, where we excel, and how we can help our customers with this specific audio lineup and the solutions that we have in our tool bag. Before we get into that, you guys know I got to do updates, industry updates. And there's a million of them I could do because it's been a while since we've done an episode, but I really just am going to stick to IBC updates. We have a couple of key updates from some of our manufacturers there, and then we'll jump into our conversation with Steve, and we'll get you some important information and be out of here lickety-split. Now, IBC updates, I've got two companies with product updates at IBC on our line card, and before I dive into those specifically, I just want to mention NDI as a technology just hit 10 years old. It's a decade old, NDI is. And the reason I mention this is because for folks who have been interested in NDI, if you've been paying attention, you've noticed that there's more NDI functionality inside of more products represented by more manufacturers. The workflows have gotten easier. The deployments have gotten simpler. And it's all gotten less expensive. So if you have been curious about NDI, I would say we can safely say that it's no longer bleeding edge. It is very much more in the cutting edge realm, while still having some maturity to it and some experience behind them, so they know what they're doing. So now's a great time to check out NDI 10 years in if you're curious and haven't jumped in yet. To product updates, I have two companies we want to talk about. PTZ Optics at IBC announced some updates for their Move 4K cameras. They've got a couple different cameras in that lineup. The key feature that I'm going to mention is NDI 6 support, which I think is the main bullet point. But if you head over to the webpage for PTZ Optics, the Midwich webpage or the PTZ Optics webpage, won't matter. You can get a bullet point list of all the updates they just announced and some of the new features they put in the cameras. The other company I want to mention with some new product updates is BirdDog. At IBC, BirdDog launched 3 new cameras. So they have their existing X1 line, and they have added a 30x optical zoom option to that lineup. So there's an X1 30x, same great camera, just more reach. Product number 2 that I want to mention is BirdDog has launched the O4 camera. And the O4 camera is a replacement for the A-series cameras in their old lineup, which is all the outdoor stuff. If you have used any of the BirdDog outdoor cameras in the past, you know that they are some of the best on the market with a pretty favorable price point as well. And the O4 does not skip a beat with that, jumps in and is newer, high-tech, cutting edge. Go take a look at the link on our website. You can see what it's all about. But if you're looking for high-quality outdoor cameras at a good price point, the BirdDog 04 is the ticket. The last thing I want to mention from BirdDog is the XL Ultra. And this is really BirdDog's big, Mac Daddy, pro-centered camera. It's got all the I/O on it that you could imagine. IP interfaces, SDI, HDMI. There's all the connectivity you can want. There's XLR on there as well. It's also 2 cameras built into one, like we see in the UC space so much. There's the main PTZ moving head camera. And in the base, there's also a 4K camera. I can't remember if it's 4K 30 or 60, but there's 2 4K cameras in there that are simultaneous outputs. You can use them independently of one another and get them back into your system as well. And the highest bullet point, I buried the lead here, but the XL Ultra has a 4/3 sensor. So it's larger than the typical 1-inch sensor we're used to on the BirdDog cameras and should As if Bird Dog didn't already perform well in low and unfavorable lighting situations, but this camera should certainly do even better yet. So certainly check out the websites, birddog.tv, midwich.us, and go check out the products, PTZ Optics as well, as we mentioned. And we've got some other showers at IBC as well, but those were the big announcements I wanted to take away. So now that we've got that out of the way, we're going to jump into a couple of minutes of conversation with my good buddy, Steve Kawasaki, Director of Business Management here at Midwich. And I just want to ask him a few questions about our audio lineup, the different brands we have on the line card, and how our partners can help take advantage of that. So let's take it over there. All right, so welcome, Steve Kawasaki, Director of Business Management here on the Midwich team. Steve, you've been with us for a little while. Why don't you start by telling the people who you are and kind of what you do here at Midwich?
Hey, Joe, thanks for inviting me to the podcast. Really appreciate it. I joined Midwich, which at the time was Starin Marketing, a little over a year ago. And I came into the organization as a part of the acquisition of the Farm AV, the big, well-known West Coast rep firm that I've been working with for a couple of years. And I came in as part of the team as part of that acquisition.
Yeah, so it's been a little while now. You've been planted. Steve, like a lot of us, like I understand you do quite a few different things, so I don't want to pigeonhole your job too much, right? But here on the pod today, we're talking about the mix of audio brands that we have on our line card. And to kick it off, right, it's fair to say that we have a pretty robust line card, which is something we're very proud of and leverage all the time. I certainly love it. But first question that comes to mind with regard specifically to the brands and the audio kind of spectrum, a lot of the folks on our line card and the brands on our line card could easily be seen as competitors, even though they're not necessarily one-to-one competitors all the time. So before we dive into like the strengths on our line card and those types of things, I just want to know when curating our brand portfolio, how do you guys manage that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We're looking for a combination of attributes with our lines, right? And this doesn't necessarily directly address how do we manage the competition or the overlap between the lines, but we're looking for lines that are all leading lines in their respective product categories. We're looking for companies that have a track record of innovation, that occupy a significant leadership position in their product category, whether it's microphones or speakers or amplification. We're looking for well-run companies that are, just solid, reliable producers that have great business systems and, mature and robust field staff that we can partner with. So I guess, nothing too revolutionary there. But the other thing, I guess, that might not be obvious is that we're also looking for companies that have what I call a systems mindset. Companies that are thinking hard about how they're and have structures and a mindset in place. Regarding how do their products integrate into a larger system, right?
Sure.
And do they have the resources to help our integrators, do that successfully? Do they have the processes in place and the infrastructure in place to drive positive outcomes for integrators at the project level, right? That's what we're looking for.
Understood. That sounds great. So that kind of addresses the first question I had, and maybe we can get the editing team to put it on the screen. But Steve, I mean, we've got so many. To your point, so many high-level brand names on the line card, especially in the audio sector. I'm cheating from my notes here, and I don't want to miss anybody, but it's like Audinate and Avid and Shure and Sennheiser and Electrovoice and Bose Professional and PowerSoft and
QSys as well.
Like it just doesn't end, right? So that's not an all-inclusive list. But I guess that leads me to my next question, which is really like what are the strengths in the audio lineup that we have and all the brands and solutions that we have? What are the strengths we really lean on and lead with, and how do we help our customers utilizing that catalog?
Yeah, that's a really big question, right? So obviously the brand names speak for themselves, right? The brands that you mentioned are definitely 1, 2, 3, depending on how you look at it in their respective product categories. Also Yamaha Professional as well. I don't know I don't remember if you mentioned Electrovoice, but we've got Elect Voice and Dynacord. We got, some real heavy hitter brands, and we're lucky to have them. The the key here is probably the key here, and the real answer to this question probably lies more in our identity or what we're trying to build here as a company, more than the brands themselves, right? We're looking for partners with a certain set of attributes, which we spoke to. But I guess the key for this is we're looking to build a company that competes a little bit differently than the other distributors in this country. We have some very formidable, really competent, well-organized, large, and incredibly competitive and well-run competition, right? You probably know who I'm talking about. Many of these competitors are quite a bit bigger than we are. Many of them have more warehouses than we are. Many of them have a vast array of product lines, in both in the pro AV space, but also well beyond that as well. And so when you ask ourselves, and how are we going to compete, against much larger competitors? The answer really comes, the answer really sort of gels around our focus. Our focus on pro AV brands, around bringing the resources to the table and the right lines to the table that help integrators build systems, right? Not just the lines, not just the brands, not just the individual products, but what other resources do we have to bear, and how do we bring that into play to help our integrators? And I used the term earlier, drive positive outcomes at the project level, right? There's a lot of distributors that have warehouses, bigger warehouses, and more of them we do. There's a lot of ones that operate a pretty efficient cash register, right? They're good at transacting, and they're good at handling money, and we do those things well as well. The one thing that we have is an incredible staff that have a deep knowledge of what it means to actually deploy systems. So we've got a 12-person team that does nothing but help people design projects, look at bills of material, help people with compatibility questions, with network setup questions. We have a very significant depth of people that can assist on that sort of pre-deployment, the pre-sale side of things. Right. Where there might be questions about a complicated bill of material, about what accessories do we need? Yeah. Exactly what does it take to get this particular network microphone working with this particular DSP? Yeah. For instance, what accessory cards or I/O cards do we need that are going to go in this box to make sure it's compatible with this box? Is the cabling compatible between these 2 points? What are the maximum limitations? We have staff that can help our integrators figure all of this stuff out, because they come out of the production world, or they come out of the integration world, or they were design engineers for a rental and staging company. Or they worked in manufacturing for years. I might be one of those people.
Guilty as well.
And we have a very robust staff. In addition to doing that, we also have a variety of services that we can offer our client base to help fill in the gaps that they might need on either a temporary basis because their crews are busy, or maybe it's a particularly complicated project where they're not 100% sure that their crews have that skill set. So we can offer programming services, on-site deployment support, and even day 2 services, things like training or warranty, extensions or advanced replacement supplements to the existing manufacturer's warranty. So we've got this whole spectrum of stuff, and the entire thing is designed to help integrators win the job, do it profitably, deploy, with some ease, right? So they're not killing themselves, and then deliver a system where their end user going, yeah, that's a great system. Yeah. Not just a good system, it's a great system. Because AV is supposed to be about greatness, right? It's the thing that makes the a meeting room go from that's good, it's a meeting room, to like, this is a great meeting room.
It's something that can make a meeting room exciting, which may otherwise not be a necessarily exciting place, right? I enjoy that a lot. Well, there's definitely a lot in there. I'd love to dive into it deeper. Obviously, we're kind of all about the short form conversation here, and we're hitting the high points, hoping to tickle some interest and get folks to kind of reach out for more if they have any more interest in these things. So I just kind of, you mentioned resources as part of that last response, and I just kind of want to ask, I know for a fact of my own personal experience that all these manufacturers have wonderful resources. Are there any in particular that you lean on? I know there are room designers, there are people that are accessible, there are portals and things like that. What are the ones we should definitely be checking out, or is it all of them?
Yeah, right. Well, it's pretty easy to find us, right? You can find us, our website is midwich.us. Pretty easy to find. You can also reach us at sales@midwich.us if you want to send us an email. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Steve Kawasaki. There's not that many Steve Kawasaki's in the US, so I'm pretty easy to find. And I'm certainly the only one, at least that I know of, in the AV industry, so I'm pretty easy to find as well. If you want to reach out to one of our design team directly, if you're an existing client, you just want to learn more about our resources, or you've got a technical question you can need some help with, you can send an email to designassist@midwich.us. And for those of you watching this podcast, you might actually get Joe Dunbar responding to you, because he's part of the team that keeps track of that inbox and can answer your product questions as well. So.
Always a pleasure. And Steve, just, to reinforce the point that we touched on quite a bit, a lot of great brands in our line card. And for us, it's very exciting to be able to work with these folks. They, like you said, are leaders in the space, and we really want to enforce that and help reinforce that messaging and those capabilities. So I appreciate the time today, Steve. Certainly, if anybody wants to get in touch, you left them the ways how to do that. And we'll look forward to having you back next time, my friend.
All right. Thanks so much, Joe. I appreciate the opportunity to speak about it.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Always a pleasure to chat with my buddy Steve. Him and I could go on all day, but nobody wants to hear that. We are here to keep it high level, key bullet points, so everybody can get what they need and move on with their day. And if you have any more questions, you want to dig into any of the brands, solutions, or products that we talked about here on the show today, certainly reach out to your rep at Midwich anytime, and we'd be happy to help you out. You could also reach out to me directly, however you want to do it. We really appreciate your time. Like, comment, rate, subscribe, do all the things. If you have any feedback for us, we'd love to hear it. And otherwise, stick around. We'll be back in 2 more weeks, and we'll look forward to keeping you in the loop.